Bloody Business. A Hunter the Vigil story. Music beat on the air like a heartbeat, thumping from every corner of the club as light and shadow chased each other across the faces of the revelers. A heavy, panting heat pulsed through the crowd, alcohol and perfume mixing in the air as dancers grabbed and ground against each other, kissing with their teeth and making promises with their eyes. For some clubs, this would have been an out-of-control bacchanal. For Styx, it was a typical Thursday night. A tall, young man made his way through the crowd, moving through the press the way a swimmer cuts through the waves. Every movement was precise, calculated, and perfectly controlled. Several of the club-goers took one look at him and started backing away. They couldn't tell if he was a cop, a street soldier, or something else, but they recognized a fellow predator when they saw one, and they didn't want any part of whatever it was he was here for. He made it all the way to the roped-off side door leading to a winding stairway going down before someone got in his way. "I'm sorry, sir, this area is off limits to patrons," the heavy-shouldered bouncer said, raising his voice to be heard over the thumping bass. "I'm on the list," the young man said. He dipped a finger into the watch pocket in his jeans and took out an old, worn coin. He held it out between two fingers. "Tell your boss I want words." The bouncer had his mouth open to say something, but when he caught sight of the coin, he reached up to his earpiece and sent a coded message in beeps. A moment later, he unhooked the velvet rope and pushed open the creaking door. He didn't say anything, and the young man pushed past him, sliding the token he'd been carrying back into his pocket. Two more men waited at the bottom of the stairs. Each of them had the same bulging muscles and intricate tattoos, but one of them had long hair tied back at the nape of his neck, and the other was bald, with a heavy beard divided into 3 plates. Both of them had guns holstered on their hips. "Larry," the young man said to the long-haired man, putting his arms out to his sides. "Rich?" Neither member of the security detail said anything. Larry stepped forward and patted the young man down. He paid special care to the space around his waist, under his arms, and down at his ankles. When he didn't find anything, he nodded to Rich. The bearded man nodded back and took a heavy key off his belt. He unlocked a steel fire door and held it open. The young man nodded to them and stepped into the chamber beyond. The room beyond the security checkpoint had once been a wine cellar. It still was, technically speaking, but it was also more than that. A fireplace blazed in one wall, the gas-fed flames leaping out of a bed of black glass. A bar ran the length of one wall, and lush carpets were scattered across the stone floor. A heavy, iron-banded door sat in the far wall, and a man stood in front of it. Tall, pale, and silent, the albino regarded the newcomer with his colorless gaze and unsmiling countenance. The young man ignored him, though, turning his attention toward the pair of leather sofas that sat in front of the fireplace, facing each other across a heavy wooden table. A man occupied one of those sofas, and he was who the young man had come to see. Aaron Jackson had the ropey build of a water moccasin and a personality to match. Jailhouse tattoos peeked out from around his collar, and scars left by something worse than a knife were just visible snaking up his shirt cuffs. There were probably 3 weapons in reach of where he was sitting, but as the steel door closed behind his guest, the serpentine man's lips crooked at the corners. His smile, if that's what it was, didn't show so much as a flash of his teeth, and it added no warmth to his dark, glassy eyes. "Caleb," Jackson said, languidly lifting a glass of scotch off the table in front of him and taking a long, slow sip. I didn't expect to see you. Mostly because I gave that coin to your brother. Don't tell me he sent you here because he was too afraid to face me himself. David's indisposed, Caleb said. On account of him being dead. Ah, Jackson said. He raised his free hand and made a twirling gesture. His bodyguard stepped behind the bar and took down a second glass, pouring a few fingers of bourbon into it. The pale man placed it into Jackson's hand, and Jackson placed it across the table from himself. My condolences. Caleb nodded and sat on the couch opposite Jackson. He picked up the tumbler. The two of them clinked glasses, and each of them drank. Caleb showed no hesitation, throwing the burning spirit back as if it were ice water. He set the now empty glass on the table, along with the coin that had gotten him this far. I appreciate that, Caleb said, but I came here to talk business. Of course you did, Jackson said, nodding as he set his own empty glass aside. He leaned forward and steepled his fingers, fixing his dark eyes on the young man across the table. And what sort of business did you come all this way to talk about? You made David an offer once, Caleb said. He turned you down, and now he's dead. I'm going after the thing that did it, and I'm going to put it in the ground. I want to cash in his chip. Jackson didn't say anything for a long moment. He leaned back and laid one arm along the rear of the couch. He studied Caleb. He saw the tears in his eyes that refused to fall, and he saw the heat burning in that gaze. He saw the way Caleb's muscles twitched, his years of training fighting against the adrenaline coursing through him. If I say no, you're gonna try to take it anyway, aren't you? Jackson asked. Caleb didn't say anything, but Jackson nodded as if he had. He raised 3 fingers and nodded at the table. His bodyguard typed in a code on a keypad next to the iron-banded door and disappeared into a back room. Suppose I should thank you, Caleb said. I wouldn't if I were you, Jackson said. No hand that's held the Widowmaker is ever the same again. I just need you to understand when you're out there, and you feel that shadow pass over your soul, that you came to me, and you asked for this. I'll remember, Caleb said. See to it that you do, Jackson said. Then his eyes narrowed. And if you live, don't bring it back here. This thing is yours now. No takebacks. Thank you for staying to the end of this story. Bloody Business is the introductory tale to The Blade Itself, corrupt equipment for Hunter the Vigil. A supplement, as one would guess, for the game Hunter the Vigil in the Chronicles of Darkness. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, subscribe, and tell all your friends and storytellers about us. And if you are interested in more stories of Hunter the Vigil, or if you just want to see what it is that Caleb is hunting, make sure that you stick around, because there's more where this came from.